Well, I knew you couldn't resist. I mean, how could you? I couldn't resist it. So here we are inside the 2016 Mercedes CLS63 AMG. So this is not some plebeian E63. This is a big swaggy four-door coupe thing that they like to call. So that's what we're in. And who do we have to thank for this opportunity? It is none other than Mercedes-Benz of Cary, North Carolina. So I'm going to leave all of Alex Ward's information down in the description box below if you want an opportunity to snag this certified pre-owned 27,000 mile 2016 CLS63S. So enough talking, let's just go ahead and get this thing out on the road. But what are we working with here? Well, this is obviously they don't make this vehicle anymore, okay? You cannot get a CLS63 anymore, and the vehicle has already been redesigned, and the top level trim that you can get with a CLS now is a CLS53 AMG, which I have also reviewed at this dealership, as well as a AMG GT. So if you want to get my thoughts on a real AMG, you know, a lot of forum junkies, they like to decide which car is real and which one's not, as if it's up to them. But anyway, this one's real, it's hand built, and it looks incredible. So let's start with the looks of this vehicle. Yes, we all know that this is pretty much based upon an E-Class. We get it, but it's just like a better looking one. And good, that's all the more reason to get one. And because of that, obviously the rear is going to be a little bit more constricted. And just getting in and out of this vehicle, it's more of a coupe-ish vehicle, so it's pretty like low slung to the vehicle. So if you are like a taller individual, just know that it is a little bit more difficult to get in and out of this. But again, a sacrifice that is well worth it, honestly. I mean, I couldn't have it any other way, dude. I mean, it's between this and like an S-Class. These are my two most favorite classes of vehicle amongst the Mercedes-Benz cars. I mean, yeah, an S-Class is probably objectively a better car, but if you can't quite afford an S-Class, CLS is the way to go, honestly. If you can afford a 63 model like this, about $58,000, well worth it, because it is a stunning looking car. It has like a different ambiance to it compared to your everyday E-Class. But you let me know in the comments section if you like the way that this vehicle looks or not. I am more interested in this drive, of course. And here's the thing, I actually just reviewed a RS7 Audi. It was a 2016 model year. Of course, staggering performance like you would expect. Nobody's gonna have any issues with speed and performance in this vehicle, that's for sure. And this thing is rocking a 5.5 liter V8 twin turbo, and this thing does put out 577 horsepower and 590 pounds-feet of torque. The torque is the key figure there, because the Audi I just checked out, it was not the performance model 2016, it was actually just a regular prestige trim, and that vehicle produced about 560 horsepower and only 516 pounds-feet of torque. Yeah, that's right, only. That's chump change compared to this, so there you go. Yes, this vehicle does have auto stop start. So there you go. Got a little matte black Rover, I see. All right. You know, over these kind of like brick type roads, soak that up pretty well, actually. And I'll make these little comparisons with the RS7 here in a little bit. Slight little hesitation off the line. I am the normal mode for now. Man, just absolutely flies for sure. I mean, this is the same thing with the RS7 for sure. There's a slight delay with these vehicles. It's really, you can't avoid that with these turbocharged vehicles. Another thing to keep in mind is that this is a 7-speed automatic. So the CLS 550 of the same year actually got a 9-speed automatic, but this actually utilized a 7-speed to cope with the power. Merging onto the highway here, absolutely effortless, like one would expect. sounds incredible. I am in the Sport Plus right now with the dampers and comfort. So when I press the AMG button, that was kind of like the preset. It's similar to like the M preset you have in the BMWs. But the 7-speed automatic, it is fabulous. It's the perfect amount of gears. You know, you can drive around in regular automatic, or you can get on the paddles, and they all react extremely well. Very crispy, love it. But at the higher speeds, the best part is that this vehicle continues to remain very it just effortlessly picks up in speed, and it continues to remain very refined. Actually, I'm very surprised by that. This vehicle does not utilize double pane glass or anything like that, like the Audi did. But I will say the Audi is still on a different level in terms of refinement. It was like 2014 to 2020 S-Class levels of refinement for sure. But let's check out that handling here. You know, it is about 4,300 pounds, about 200 pounds lighter than that RS7. This does handle significantly better than the RS7 for sure. Yeah, I like the way that this handles a little bit more. It has like more of a direct and just a more precise control over the vehicle. You know, it actually feels more so of like a BMW type chassis, but like with far more comfort involved with it. And that's because this thing is rocking 19-inch wheels, all four corners, two 55 wide tires up front, and two 85s, I believe, in the rear. And because of that, it's not super wide tires. The Audi RS7 had two 75s in all four corners, but this is producing just a tad bit more road noise, tire noise in the RS7. That's to be expected. That RS7 was just buttery and just very refined, but this is still very good. Compared to like the BMW M6 I drove, it was like a 2014, I think, M6 Coupe. Dude, that car rode like trash, and it was very loud inside. I was a BMW fanboy growing up. The M6 was a huge dream car of mine, but until I drove that thing, that was by far the least refined. It was just like a hooning machine, twin turbo V8, just lights up the rear tires basically. That's what that thing was good for. But these cars, far more refined, far more livable. Obviously the all-wheel drive is standard here with the CLS, so you got that going on as well. Yeah, and because it's all-wheel drive standard, it just immediately hooks up. You need it. You actually do need the all-wheel drive with a car like this, because I mean, it just, you know, this is a lot of power to be sent to all four wheels. But fortunately, you know, it's in the comfort mode, it is very good, very comfortable. But in the Sport Plus, because suspension still does a reasonably well job. I mean, it's slightly more jittery, but not a huge difference, to be honest with you. I'll check out more of the handling here with the Sport Plus. Adaptive suspension here, multi-links in all four corners, of course. But yeah, no, the Audi's got this thing beat in terms of refinement, no doubt. Even with the ridiculous 21-inch wheels that thing had on it, that still rode better than this, but this has far more character to drive. Really, the highlight for me with the RS7 was actually the comfort and the refinement, not really the speed, actually. This feels faster than the Audi, and not just because of the 0 to 60. This thing does do 0 to 60 in about 3.6 seconds, as opposed to the 3.7 seconds in the non-performance Audi RS7 that I tried. Obviously, if you got the performance Audi RS7, that's a 605 horsepower car, which is more than this. But yeah, no drama with it. Very easy to drive, very effortless. And Sport Plus, obviously, the transmission reacts very sporty, very aggressively, similar to how I would drive in an aggressive fashion. So I do like this transmission, powertrain combination, all that stuff. Obviously, the newer AMGs use a 4-liter twin turbo. This is the 5.5 liter. Let's see, kind of chuck this in there. Yeah, very good. Not a whole lot of body roll with this car. I do like this in terms of handling a lot more. Brakes are great. Yeah, this is all fantastic. Yeah, as a driving experience, this has way more character. It kind of does what BMW's trying to do, except a little bit more exciting, but with a little bit more comfort. It's a nice little middle ground vehicle, and because of that, it's very livable. Would I choose this over the RS7? I mean, I think objectively the RS7 is a better car, but like this is just so much more fun to drive. That's the thing I noticed with it. I think the RS7 is unnecessary. I think the S7 Audi was perfect. The M6 is out of the running. I'm sorry. That's just too uncomfortable for me and just very unrefined for what it was. I like the steering wheel and the steering weight of this thing. I like how everything is reacting in this vehicle. It's just a lot more playful. It's never dangerous, and the motor is the most aggressive and the best sounding by far. It's still hushed in here. It's not like a ridiculous sounding car. I'm sure it sounds crazier from the outside, but from the inside here, even with the Sport Plus, with the exhaust and everything opened all the way out, it's just turbocharged motors, they're always going to be a little bit more muffled. That's just the nature of these engines. You can't really get away from that. But a naturally aspirated vehicle will definitely sound better, but you know, what can you do? If you want this level of thrust, you have no choice. So yeah, I don't mind it. This still has the most amount of character amongst all the twin turbo V8s. That's not to be disputed. I mean, is this like the best car in the world or anything like that? I mean, you know, that's up to you to decide. I mean, obviously, if you like the brand, I mean, I guess it is the best to you. But in my opinion, I mean, amongst this whole trio of vehicles is like older generation, RS7, CLS63, and the M6. I'm kind of leaning towards this, just because of the more playful nature of the drivetrain as well as the handling characteristics. I just feel the most natural driving this car. So I'll just leave it at that. Let's go ahead and let's get inside this interior and let's talk about that, and then end off the review. Okay, now that we are parked, let's go ahead and let's talk about this interior real quick. So, okay, here's the thing with this interior space. Don't disregard this interior because it's a older generation interior. I actually talked about this in the G63 review I did. I actually do like this generation of Mercedes E-Class type interiors because they were actually surprisingly solid. This goes for this vehicle as well. It's very solid still. It's not like really creaking and rattling like crazy. I think I heard like one or two things here and there, but for the most part, this is actually a really super solid interior space. One that will make this car a little bit more timeless as time goes on, because like the new vehicles, I mean, they're just predominantly just screens, okay? And I noticed they feel a little bit more hollow when you like touch up against some of the panels and stuff. This feels a lot more rock solid, so I do appreciate that. And I mean, obviously the main reason why you want to buy this vehicle is for that IWC clock. I mean, that's obviously the main reason. You know, I left the best for last, of course. So there you go. That's the main reason to purchase this car. No, seriously. Everything from interacting with this car, it's by far like the easiest. Okay, there's the least amount of learning curve with this interior space. Everything's ergonomic, simple to access. Like take for instance this climate control. I love the knob that they use for the temperature selection, as well as the dedicated graphic for the fan speeds and all that. So very easy to use climate control, completely separated from this screen. And speaking of screen, this for 2016, I believe they got a new screen here with the command touch thing. Obviously, it's not the latest and the greatest, but it reacts extremely well, and I do like using it. You use it in conjunction with some of these little buttons in the middle here in the center console. So, and this particular car does utilize the Premium 2 package, so it's one of the top tier packages that you could get for this vehicle. So it's got a healthy amount of features for sure. Heated and cooled seats. You also have a very slow but a nice little peasant blocker for the rear, of course, a sun blocker, obviously. So you got that. You got some parking sensors right here. You got blind spot monitoring, so nice little safety features here, very convenient. You also have a backup camera, 360 cam, all that stuff. A lot of new cars don't even have a proper 360 camera, but this one has it. Very crispy, high quality screen for sure, and camera, so that's great. It is not a touchscreen, of course, so keep that in mind. But it's an elegant interior space. I do like how they did the vents back in the day. You know, it's very good, nice silver, high quality feeling still, so that's good. It's not like the new ones, but it's still nice with this nice little wood grain veneer, glossy finish, but it's not bad. I wish it was carbon though. The exterior has a lot of carbon on it, like the rear kind of spoiler, that lip spoiler, and I think a few other bits and pieces here have carbon on the exterior. Oh, the wing mirrors, I believe. So yeah, there's that. Wish it was on the interior though. I like the digital kind of shifter here, very easy to use, and you have your controls to select your different modes in this vehicle. Just press the AMG mode and everything will go into Sport Plus except for the dampers until you actually press the damper button. And the dampers actually do make a slight difference here. So I do notice it actually handling a little bit better and riding a tad bit firmer. So something to keep in mind. You got automatic headlights. You got one touch up and down windows for all 4 windows. However, I will say these are not double pane glass like it was in the Audi. So that would take this vehicle to the next level in terms of refinement. But I will say the wind noise is actually not bad at all. It's very quiet in here in those regards. There's a little bit more tire noise. But again, fortunately, because it's only 19-inch wheels on it, the tire replacement isn't going to be as ridiculous like in that 21-inch setup in the Audi. So tires should be cheaper, and you should have a lot more options for tires here as well. And just put all seasons on here. You do not need summer tires at all with this vehicle. It has plenty of grip from the 4MATIC all-wheel drive, so you're good there. You have 3-way memory seats and great seating controls here. I will say, like I mentioned, it is kind of more difficult to get in and out of this vehicle. It is a very low slung car, actually. Not super low slung, but it is a more coupe-ish, actually. So just keep that in mind getting in and out of this vehicle. And I do like the adjustments in the seat. The seats themselves are great, very comfortable seats like in typical Mercedes fashion, and the leather has aged extremely well, hardly any wrinkling, and they do look great too. So yeah, very comfortable, can fit wider body types. It is bolstered up, and you can actually control these bolsters here with additional controls on the right side of the seat here. So take advantage of that. You can really kind of personalize the seat here. One option that this vehicle does not have is the Bang & Olufsen sound system. That was a 15-speaker unit. The Audi RS7 I tested had it, but not this vehicle. This one actually has the Harman Kardon, but don't disregard this Harman Kardon system. This sounds very good, very loud, very clear. I do like this a lot. Honestly, to my ear, I'm not an audiophile, but it's not too far off from that Bang & Olufsen that I tested in that RS7. So something to keep in mind, but again, I'm not an audiophile. But again, this is a very good system. I was very happy with this. So I don't mind this at all. But yeah, a lot of these German cars typically don't come with that $6,000 to $7,000 audio system. Not too many people spec'd it out with those systems there. At least this has like a brand name thing going on here, so it makes people happy. So there you go. Super clean gauge cluster. Really like how that looks. You have a little helper screen in the middle as well. So kind of go through that, have fun. Shows you your trip information. Just some basic info as well, some safety, tire pressure, the temperatures for the oil and the coolants. So you have that as well, like a nice digital readout of it, and typical fuel gauge as well. So very easy to use. Paddle shifter is great in this vehicle. Nice metal paddle shifters, very satisfying. It's the exact same paddles that you get in the new cars. Now, I will say the biggest kind of detracting factor here for this interior is the steering wheel. The sides here for the steering wheel, I mean, it's a great thing to grip onto, but it's kind of worn out. I think this was a suede type material on the sides. I think that's why it wore out. That's the unfortunate thing when you use that material. Feels great when it's new, but it doesn't wear out too well. Maybe you can get this reconditioned, because that's the only real weak link with this interior space. Open this up. You have a nice big armrest right here, much larger than the Audi. 2 USB cables. Obviously this vehicle has Bluetooth, but glove box is a decent size as well. So let's go ahead, let's talk about that rear. So again, a little bit more difficult to get in and out of the rear as well. Same thing with the Audi, because it's kind of sloped rear. So taller individuals, I'm 5'11", watch out for that. But seating comfort back there remains extremely good. It's actually not too far off from the Audi. I will say I have a little bit more legroom, I think, in this vehicle than I do in the Audi, but otherwise both cars are really satisfying to sit back there. Like once you're in there, it's really comfortable. And I have a few extra inches of headroom as well, so that's pretty good. So yeah, fitting back there isn't really an issue. It's just getting in and out. But again, if you're over like 6'3", 6'4", it might be a little bit difficult for you to squeeze back there. But the trunk though, even though it's not a hatchback, dude, this trunk is massive, very large trunk. You also have a skinny kind of spare tire back there as well, so that's great. Most of these cars don't even come with a spare, but this has one, so you can rock run flat tires. So that's a great thing. And also, trunk is great, but most importantly though, you can fold down the rear seats 60/40. Very practical stuff. Yeah, obviously you can do it with the Audi. Yes, it's a little bit more practical because it's a hatch, but I think because this isn't a hatch, this handles better, and it still has a super usable trunk. So, you know, this vehicle doesn't have all the bracing and stuff in the rear, because hatchback vehicles that are sedans, they got to have extra bracing to make it as solid as the sedan counterparts. This doesn't need that, so it just naturally handles a lot better. So you have that going on as well. Just a much more direct feeling car. Practicality is not an issue here, so that's great. You also have heated seats back there as well. So very good vehicle, a lot of nice features. This is obviously certified pre-owned, and it's a good vehicle to take advantage of. This is about $58,000, so that's not a bad price point. The Audi I checked out was $68,000, but it wasn't certified, and it also had, but it did have less mileage though, like 16,000. This has 27,000 miles. So something to keep in mind, this is still low mileage. It's still aged extremely well. It's one of the more solid interior spaces. And yeah, driving wise, I think this is definitely my most favorite. It has the most character, but it's also the best handling. All-wheel drive still makes it very versatile. You can own it all year round. It's got a very nice warranty on it, and I'm sure you can extend that warranty for not much more because it is certified. So things to keep in mind with this vehicle. Take advantage of it if you want. This one's loaded with some nice options in it, but I'll leave all of Mercedes-Benz of Cary's information down below and all of Alex Wert's information, so you can check him out. So thank you again for watching this review. Take care and goodbye.